Hello everyone, Conor here. Just as a small disclaimer, some things we may talk about on the pod shouldn't be attempted or recreated. Remember to keep everything legal, keep it between the ages, and don't tear up the ground while you're on the pull. Hello everyone, what is the crack? You're listening to the I Agree Automotive Podcast, brought to you by Limited Slip Differences, where we chat all things cars to cows. I am Conor, and I am dosed this time. So if I sound shit, I do apologise. Today we're on episode 29, and this is...
You keep looking at me, well, as if you're wanting me to interject, and it's like you keep looking at your screen, like you're screening your phone, because you still haven't memorised what you're supposed to say yet, and then you turn around and look at me, and I'm like... And that's why, if you listen to this intro, I've tried to butt in 3 times because I keep thinking you're trying to talk to me or you're trying to introduce me. But yes, no, the voice you're hearing now is me, Michael Scullin. What is the crack as well?
And if you're watching on YouTube, Michael's probably looking very frustrated right now.
No, I'm laughing. It's funny.
Aye.
Episode 29. 29, yeah, 29.
Wasn't it? Aye.
Yeah,
that's all right.
29, yeah. It's so back to another episode with just me and Conor.
Yeah. And if you're watching YouTube and I look cold, I am.
And he's dosed.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Remember the podcast where I was dosed, and it just I keep going back to this. I don't think I'll ever forget that.
You became Darth Cullen.
Holy fuck!
You're
I was actually disgusted listening to myself on the podcast. I was glad.
Just let you know I'm not your father.
Fuck. Good.
Because you're older than I am.
Stranger things have happened, kid.
Like what?
I actually have friends
that aren't of the pod.
Yeah.
Fuck.
What was I going to say?
So we start this talking some baloney.
Yeah. So another episode of me and Conor. Actually had 1, 2, or 3 guests lined up. Original guest. Don't want to say too much about him because he's not like what you'd expect, but he did play a guitar. We'll leave it at that. He couldn't do it. Let me know yesterday, and then I was like, right, that's fine. It actually doesn't suit to do it in the middle of the day anyway for me as well, so the evening will be better. And if you're playing a guitar and the amount of fucking about we'll do, it'll be some crack whenever we have him on. We'll probably have about 4 hours of footage. So I'm not sitting here to 1 o'clock tonight, which we probably will be anyway, but not intentionally. Sure.
We're always normally sitting here to...
midnight anyway.
Aye.
Midnight anyway. And then I spoke to a couple of other ones and they were like, it's too late notice. And I was like, yeah, no, you're probably right. So here we are. Back
Nobody
to me and you.
Likes us.
Do you know what? But I was actually thinking about this as well. But because
Were you? But
yeah, was I?
That's good.
There's a lot of stuff that we talk about because I quite like the guests to be. Is there some non-important known?
You'd never know.
There's I seen the blue lights going down the road earlier, and I was like, eee.
9 o'clock. Probably.
And then meanwhile, everybody else having fun, we're fucking freezing our balls off. But
we're recording on Sunday, the 25th of February.
This will not be out to the 3rd of March, though. So, but anyway, as I was saying, because I like having the guest on for the full podcast, there's quite a lot of car stuff coming up. And the next couple of guests that I had planned, it's all farming related. So, I always feel like I'd be feared of them sitting feeling like a dick. Me and you sitting beside each other over here talking about cars and them just watching us going, aye.
Well, I suppose like anything. Not to say he looked like a dick, but sure, mind I was chatting about us taking your Fiat up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't really know much about tractors, low loaders and all that crack of the day, you've no real way to interject into the conversation. I suppose that's the beauty of talking everything from cars to cows.
Aye. If you get someone on who's a bit more niche, to be fair, most of our guests so far.
Once you start talking about cows, you just go mute.
Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, it was like that time with Andrew Wright where you just kept talking, and I was like, having a clue. But anyway, so whenever it's me and you, I feel like it's a good chance to maybe get a bit more technical. Whereas podcasts with guests tend to be probably a bit funnier, a bit more, I don't want to say lively. They're lively with me and you as well. But I think, yeah, we can get a bit more technical, which is appreciated too by the listeners, as it turns out.
Well, it's like this here, whenever you have a guest on, you have a different angle to everything.
100%, everything's about them.
You know, it's...
Whereas you're in my territory now, motherfucker.
What do you mean?
It's a Michael show.
I'm always in your territory.
Yeah, main character. As you say, like, so you're always coming at it with a different angle. So it is...
Like, the only time I get to freely speak is whenever I say the start of it. Not even that, to be honest with you guys. Like, normally... We're in take 4.
There we go. I was about to interject again.
But we're not.
No, we're off and... We're off in the get-go here tonight.
We're just going for it, to be honest with you.
You know what's funny as well is when you talk to a lot of people about podcasts as well, like, and coming on, the first thing they always say is, oh, but I'd be feared of saying something wild stupid. And I'm like, you do know what's edited. Like, none of this is live. And they're like, what? And I'm like, do you know how many times I've had to edit me or Conor out saying stupid things that could get us in a lot of trouble?
Well, that's it. Like, that is the beauty of...
Probably every podcast,
Like, around the start, whenever we did, you know, episode 1 to 5, I'm not going to lie, like, my French actually is terrible, but my slang French is horrible.
Like,
and
we swear a lot anyway. We're never going to get monetized, but some of the stuff that we were saying just from ourselves, we're like, you cannot say this.
Like, I can't mind what song it is, whether it's Prada or something along them lines, and whenever you listen to it in the radio,
yeah,
it is pish.
Yeah,
because it's just like Prada and it's and then another
and it's like, right, that's just a beat, not actually lyrics.
And then whenever you listen to it in Spotify for so long, you're singing away to it.
Yeah. Oh, big cough. Anyway, is there anything new with you?
To be honest,
hold on, I heard a noise coming from the microphone side, and I've started to get worried. Oh no, we're good. There's
nothing mad new with me. It's been a very, I suppose you say, expensive couple of weeks.
Yeah. For you, I was thinking about that last night. Actually, I was like, that poor bastard.
Yeah. So the Mrs. Gemma, it was her 30th birthday.
Yeah.
She didn't have mention that out, so there we go. That's it. And here, 30th celebrations just don't come too cheap whenever you want to, you know, suppose leave it a good couple of days. So nice relaxing couple of days of milking cows. To be honest with you, it's funny. See, whenever you are, like, you know, obvious, like, there's not many people just go into farming for the love of it. You know, it's mostly just, obviously, ones have been
generational.
Generational. But
or the ones that go in for the love of it very quickly realise that they don't love it at all.
well, that's it. Like, but it's funny. Like, I'll say from my perspective, like, it's the type of thing where when you're doing it and you've been doing it day in, day out, week in, week out, you know, you curse it up and down. You know, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
All the bells and whistles, you know yourself. But see, whenever you bring the likes of the type of person who's so used to a routine.
Out of the routine.
I'm not going to lie, like, so one of the days, went down to Farnham Estate.
Yes.
In Cavan. Lovely place for a spa retreat. I know this is not cars and cows related, but anyway, fuck yous. But see, whenever you come to the evening time and you don't obviously have the milking as, oh, I need to do that.
Yeah, so it is farm related. You're talking about your institutionalism to farming.
Thank you for explaining that.
Literally, like the Shawshank Redemption, where your man goes, he's institutionalised. That's you to the farm, like.
But see, whenever you don't have that,
you're sitting looking at the phone going,
you're fucking lost.
I bet you the guilt was kicking in too, probably. You were like...
I know it was like you've relaxing is obviously having nothing to do and chilling, and you're struggling to do nothing.
Aye. Because your body is going, no, right now you should be going, plugging on all these different
like we the heat detection thing in, and I was looking at it, and now, you know,
on
there's not on the phone. Yeah.
Fuck's sake, Conor.
I was looking at it, was like, you know, God, I must have a nosy and see if there's any cows and heater out there, just let them know. And I did. And
boundaries, Conor. Boundaries.
So, well, there's that there, and then, like, really the only other thing, I suppose, you and me, and I suppose it comes back to the podcast of, you know, gaming and that there, and the games that made us. Well, I'm a nerd at heart. I might like cows and cars, but big man into Marvel and Star Wars and all that crack of the day too. But, so, as if anybody listened to episode 24.
24, yeah, games that made us.
I bought a PlayStation 5, and then funny, it's like anything, whenever you, it's suppose like anything to do with cars, whenever you're researching about the Sierra and that there, and about the Saab engine,
I like
it's like a wormhole. You go down, you find out more things, and then you, any logical fucker in the world who would be going to undertake such a large undertaking like that. But it's like anything, you look into things and you're like, you know, gosh, you can get like a handheld thing where you can play your PlayStation on the go and all that crack. So I was like, I do not need that, but that's just cool, and I want that. So, but it's like anything, whenever it's new out, it's hard to get one. Finally got one. It'll be a novelty for a couple of weeks and probably be set down and never played again. But anyway, so playing Need for Speed on the go is strange.
I can imagine, yes.
I'm not quite 30 yet, but I feel like I'm, 30 going on 13 still again. But in all seriousness,
so what is it? Just remote play or what?
It is literally it's just a, you'd imagine a controller with a big tablet screen stuck in the middle of it.
And is it basically like Sony's answer to the Nintendo Switch?
It is. Now, again, do you know the way,
without getting too technical, but
well, do you know the way whenever you were talking about wiring the Sierra, right? You have your ECU Master Black.
Yes, well, I had a classic.
You're a classic, right? You're talking about all your inputs and outputs and what it can do, X, Y, and Z, all that crack. Well, it's like anything. Whenever you delve into things and you go in through Facebook groups and that, like out rural Wi-Fi wouldn't be deadly, and then you find out what way it works. So now, like, I don't have my PlayStation connected to a TV. It's connected just straight into the router. So it's just, so from the PlayStation portal, you can turn it on, play away and all that crack. So I know it's like anything. It's been a nice novelty, and I could have been here earlier, only it's like everything farming, there's always something. So as boring a creator as I sound, the only other thing is I have been taking a cough bottle and some day and night nurse, and I'm still not rid of this.
You know they used to use Jägermeister's cough medicine?
Probably. Hot whiskies do, I suppose, do a good job too.
It's probably just because after one or two of them, you're fucking laying on the floor.
Well, yeah.
Say that about poaching too. They're like, poaching, best cure for any sickness. And I'm like, aye. Because then the next 6 hours are just a blank. Of course. Oh, yeah. Of course it's going to solve your problems. Like,
well, like, funny, the first time I ever tried whiskey, I had a head cold. And it was a Wednesday, so it was when I was at uni. Cause obviously at Greenmount's in Antrim Town.
Yes.
And then
slightly just outside it, but yes.
So like you're not exactly beside nightclubs and that.
No.
So
no.
We would have me and the lads would have went out to Belfast on Wednesday night, got a hotel or something.
Oh, did you not get a bus up and a bus back?
No. So what we would have done was, excuse me, for the Wednesday, so the winter fair was on Thursday.
Yes.
We were like, here, sure.
Yeah.
We'll all go to the winter fair, So I think it was 2 or 3 years maybe in a row, or maybe 2 years anyway, and we went to the Bot. So we went to the Bot about 7 o'clock, and
Jesus, that's well early for the Bot.
Very early, yes, but it's like, we'll go there, and sure, there's a nightclub and upstairs,
aye.
and
It's pretty good, like.
First year we done it, I had a head cold, and Ryan Lavery, great breeder, Dexter cattle, by the way, good grass-fed beef. He said, "Sure, I'll buy whiskey and white. Try it." And I was like, "So that's going to do fuck all." And he was like, "No, try it. Might clear your head cold." Swear to fuck, it actually worked. No, like it. It was like taking magic medicine. He could have put a fucking pill in it for all I know. I don't know, but sure, we'll not go there. I'm sure he didn't. But I that was the first time I took whiskey. Don't know where I was going with that, but sure, you all know about it now. Other than that, Michael, fill us in for the next half hour on what you have new.
It's just a follow on really from the last podcast. It's just I'm going full static now with the Sierra, so hydraulics have been done away with, and I probably spoke about this in the last podcast anyway, and talking about what I'm doing to the P100 and all. So the P100 is kind of parked for now. It's sitting on the left, but it's parked because
we got the tub off it.
Yeah, we got the tub off it there a couple weeks ago. Me,
or the
you,
bit. Or the bit,
the tub. Was it? There was a ween of us down. There was me, you, Creth, Adam, and Matthew, wasn't it?
Yes,
5 of us. Yeah. It's a heavy old bastard, that tub.
Not on the 5 men, though.
Not on the 5 men. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was still struggling a bit. But, so it's just lying on the left. And to be honest, the P100 probably would have been better not being on the left, and the Sierra would have been better being on the left.
The best of it was, you turned round to us and you said, it mustn't weigh that much, because me and Matthew Henry were fit to lift it off.
Yes.
And I was like, yes, but there's a very good asterisk there.
Yes. Matthew Henry's a powerlifter.
Yes, and he does squat like 300 kilos in the back.
He was basically carrying that himself, and I was just sort of, and that was back whenever I was still training.
Some say if you put him in your front PT at the front of the tractor, you might as well have 3-point linkage.
Yeah, and that was back as well whenever I was doing all the training. So that was 2021, I think I done all that work to the P100. So that was whenever I was a lot better shape as well. So the two of us.
Well, you're not in bad shape at the minute.
Aye, but I'm 2 stone heavier than I was back then.
It happens.
And I was training MMA and all back then, so then I started doing a podcast, and just time just ran away with ourselves. But anyway, so P100 is basically parked. I'm trying to not skip between the two, because that's essentially what I do. Is I go and work on one, and I go and work on the other, and go and work on one, go and work on the other. And basically, I normally would do whatever entertains me the most, but I'm trying not to do that. So it's no, just get the Sierra sorted. So I think the last podcast I said I had left off the coilovers to Brian Gordon, Gordon Precision Engineering down in Kilray there. And basically what I have is I'm trying to run my car like an S13 or a BMW E36 or E46, and using camber plates in the strut tires, which is grand. You just simply drill the strut tires. Boys do it on Group A cars as well, like Cosworths and stuff, so it can be done. It is safe, and the camber plate sort of sits in there as reinforcement anyway. I just had to design up my own custom camber plate because I wasn't paying Burton Power like £180 for one.
How much did the custom ones cost?
£30
fair
for the plate, plus £25 for the camber plate of the BMW that I used. So £55, and I have the design that I can replicate that and copy it onto the other one. So that was fine. Got Brian then to make me, because I'm using an E36 strut top on a Sierra strut, that means that the Sierra strut was basically wobbling about because the BMW seats differently. So I got Brian to basically make me a sleeved nut, where basically the outside diameter is more or less the same as the hole it was going through, and it's threaded on the inside. So rather than just making a spacer and bolting it at the top, it's a lot more structurally sound. It's a lot stronger. So you're basically threaded the whole way down. It's a lot safer. So that was the first thing. So I got that done. But so I have Evo coilovers in my Sierra, right? And I got them for handy money. And because I got them for handy money, I don't mind butchering them. That was the whole idea with these. But something, what
baffles me is, you're handy money, is all the money I will spend in coilovers.
Yeah, but like compared to, say, a brand new gas Revo at 700, 800 quid.
No, I'm just joking.
You know,
the fact
but,
that, like,
but the thing is, right, I'm running 4x4s, and I think the 4x4s are a bit longer. So they say, oh, Evo coilovers go really low, but because I have Granada struts, I needed the 4x4 coilovers. Granadas and 4x4s have the same strut diameter at the bottom. They're 50
well, did you
mil.
do any research to see how low a Granada will go on them?
Just everybody goes, oh, Evos go deadly low. Evos go deadly low.
But everybody's saying and being is two different things.
You've either got Evo or gas as coilovers to start off with. So you're kind of there. As I said, they come up with good money. The other difference is that a Sierra, like, if you imagine, it kind of comes up into like a central cone, right? And basically the coilover is supposed to sit right up in the top of that cone where it bolts in. I have a camber plate, so I'm probably about a solid 2 inches lower than where I'm supposed to originally be. So I've now lost 2 inches of lows. Okay, so anybody else mounting it the normal way would go far lower.
50 mil.
Yeah. So the thing is, I still have all the setup. I could do that to my car too, but I lose the camber, which means I can't run. Like, with the body clubs, it wouldn't matter. I could take the front spacers out and it'd be fine. But when I run the works, I want to run nice dash up front. And if I was running the works on the normal setup, it would just look shit. There'd be like a wee small dish. It would just be wanky looking. So I want to run a bigger dish. I just want it to look better. Obviously, a wider wheel. I want to run wider wheels anyway. So I don't want to go back to the original style. I want to try and keep that camber bit in anyway. Plus, it's nice to have the adjustability. So I have the Evo coilover fully low, as low as I can go, and it's just sort of sitting above the tyre, which isn't low enough for me. I want to be kind of on the tyre, sort of nearly not far off the alloy, but
But
close to it.
with your front arches, though, if you hit a bad bump,
It won't, because I'm stretching the tyre a bit more and I'm running camber. So it'll basically, the reason why I'm setting up like that is only in full lock. If you hit a bump on full lock, if you're unfortunate enough to do that, yeah, you might catch something. But there would have been the risk of doing that with the hydraulics anyway. Plus, it's a slightly narrower tyre. Not by much. I'm going 205 to 195. So it'll be okay. But still, so that's the next thing I'm looking at is modding the coilover, because that'll get me the extra bit of lows. Now, a few ones have said, yeah, you can do it. A lot of people, you tell them you're thinking of modding the coilover and they go, you're stupid, why would you ever do that? And it's like, if you come and actually see what I'm talking about doing, you'll realise what I'm thinking of doing actually isn't that stupid. But yeah, so I'll just out it here. I'm thinking, so there's like a bead of weld runs around the coilover where it sits into the strut. I'm thinking if you grind back that bead of weld and weld it further on up, providing you do it right and you allow the cooling and all to happen, and you don't even need to run the bead of weld the full way, just do it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to go anywhere.
is it going to catch the tyre with a spring?
No, Jesus, no way.
No, nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
Oh, then.
Nowhere near. So that's the plan, to try and get lower. And you know what? If anything, I'll make it even better, because it means when you lift the car up, the ram fully extending anyway, but the spring sort of is a bit loose when you lift it up anyway. But it would mean I could run a helper if I can get it. I only need to go like 15 mil lower. I'd like to try and get like 40 mil. So what I could do then is maybe put a helper or something in, and that would allow me that, like, I'd put like a helper spring even of an inch or something like that in. It would mean that the ram or the spring isn't as loose, and I'd still be able to go really low. So that's what I'm thinking. And then what I'll do is I'll take note of all them measurements, and then I will go to BC's and go, can you do that for me?
Nice.
Because that's what BC offered to do. So, and I still have your man's card in my wallet, so hopefully they come through with that. So that's what I'd like to do. I would like to have a good coil later in the year. I would like to have a good dialed in coilover setup, and I'll just keep running the body clubs for now. I'd rather, excuse me, make it work rather than build the wheels and still be running kind of not dodgy but modified coilovers. Whereas I could happily then throw them coilovers into the other Sierra as a drift car, and you would never really care about it at all. So that's what's new with me. So as I said, when it's me and you, we can go a bit more technical. I don't know if I've done much of a job explaining that, and you look lost, but
no, I'm trying. So during the way, whenever you weren't well,
mm-hmm.
you heard a lot of breathing.
Yeah,
I'm gauging my breathing here, and I'm watching the microphone to see if anybody can hear it.
Go there just a second. I know, we'll go quiet. Moment silence for Conor and his. I know you're all right. Are you holding your breath?
No,
you're not. You're dead on. With me, like,
did you breathe through your mouth to your nose on time?
My nose was that blocked. I had to mouth breathe.
I'm mouth breathing at the minute. Yeah.
Oh, nothing worse than mouth breathing as well.
I suppose, yeah. It's just even worse the fact that my lips are chapped to shite. It's funny whenever you drink fuck all water, which everybody should drink lots of water, but I don't.
I definitely don't drink enough. Back is consistently telling me I don't drink enough water.
And then you go to like saunas and steam rooms and that, and it takes the water clean out of you. Aye. You're going to have nothing else other than chapped lips, like, so.
Yeah. But I thought that's there probably is something else, but I really want to get on to the main topic. But before we get on to that, quick shout out to the sponsor who we forgot to mention last week, even though he's sponsoring the podcast, and apologies, James. But yes, Design Crafts, our sponsor for the podcast, got us this fancy engine table.
Yes, it's lovely.
So James's plan is going forward. He can procure engines. He's got V6s. He's built a V12 one before. It was pretty neat. He's doing a V6 Vauxhall engine for my house as well. So that'll be cool. So basically, yeah, this one, I'll be honest, because it was sponsored to us, it just has the sort of the checkered plate top, but he can do them with glass as well. And so there's also options there to use like conrods and stuff as like legs and all that there. So it's pretty nifty stuff. So
it's very functional for us.
It works for us.
If you want something basic, more ornamental in the house,
yeah, James is your man.
Yeah,
he can absolutely do that for you. So good man, James, for sponsoring the pod.
And it's definitely going to stand the test of time because it takes two of us to lift it.
Oh fuck, it's a heavy bastard of a thing. And the lights are cool as well.
The lights are cool
as well. But anyway, so the main topic. So I didn't know if I didn't actually ever think we'd be talking about something like this, at least in this kind of way. But
I don't know what way we're going to talk about it, but you're going to enlighten me.
So about a year ago, right, we did our first podcast, our second podcast ever, and it was on Feldspec. And it was roughly about this time last year we recorded that.
Aye.
Right? And a lot of what we talked about in Feldspec was from the days when we were younger, and like all the car parks and going to Elk and all that caper. Right? But as we've got older and as I've got older, like
I also age.
Yeah, I'm just okay. Well, I was just trying to put it in my context, but thank you for that, Conor. I'm glad you're not Benjamin Button. Like COVID happened and all that there as well, but my life kind of circled a lot around shows, and then my car was off the road for a long time. And as I look back over the last couple of years, like the time, and I've spoke about it so much, but the time I enjoyed, I think, the car scene the most was when I had my Altezza.
You can say that, right? And you're looking at me with 10 heads. You can say that. Yes, that's fair.
No, I was waiting for you to go. Yes, I know, because you always talk about how you miss your Altezza.
Well, there's that, yes, but at the same time, right? I think anybody that knows me, right? So car shows are lovely.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if I've said this or not, but anyway, before. They're lovely and all that, but at the end of the day, like, a car's a car. Like, example of me or example of you, like, you originally done the Sierra, so that it would be like a Japanese version of a Ford car.
Of a, like a,
And
yeah,
you'd
of a-
have your,
it's basically a Japanese taste in a British car, yeah.
Yeah, your banty-lag and all that carry on. Your fucking about buttons and stuff. And it's like me, like with a Type R, like put Honda into it, so it literally, not for the performance gains, but just so I had a quicker limiter. So it was a very expensive quicker limiter, and the fact that she makes bangs, you know, in decel with the overrun on that, which to a lot of people, fucking pointless. Like, don't get me wrong,
But
it completely is.
it's
But,
class.
you know, it's fun.
The
And at the end of the day, like I get my buzz out of that. But suppose where I'm going with this is, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I'll take it back in then because I had a kind of a direction, and I actually didn't really tell Conor about what we were going to discuss.
Like, you don't ever.
Especially this time around, because I kind of wanted to spring it on you because I knew it'd be a more natural one. But I suppose what I'm saying is, like, basically, if we forget about COVID and the Altezza for a bit, my timeline was I had the 207 out, did the shows, but we also went a lot of places and enjoyed it. Then I had the Sierra out for 2 years, and the first year it did nothing but break down, and the second year I couldn't really properly drive it places because it was really statically low. So kind of remind me why I'm doing that again. Anyway, then after that there was 5 years of nothing, and then suddenly there was 2 years. Now I've had 2 years. 2022, basically stress tested the entire car. Couldn't really drive as hard as I'd liked. A, scared of the fucking thing. B, constantly fixing it because just parts I'd bought on the cheap were breaking all the time. So, like, constantly replacing, constantly finding weak points. And then eventually in 2023, the turbo went bang, which was shit at the time, but probably the best thing that could have happened to that car. Only thing is, I haven't been able to do any wrecking yet because the car's still not mapped. Just because between me trying to get stuff sorted for it and a couple of others involved, it'll be sorted at some point. But anyway, 2020 for me was, I had the Altezza out, and it was back when you couldn't really do anything else, and we were constantly driving around the country. We were going to the likes of Oma, we were going to Eglinton, we were going to Gorchin, and I didn't have a show car. I didn't have a car that was going to win shows, and it's the most fun I've ever had in my life. So that kind of brings me on, and not to say that kind of brings me on, but talk about shows. Like, don't get me wrong, as I said, I enjoy the rush of building the car for Dubshed as much as anybody, and that initial thing of driving into the hall at Dubshed and seeing all your mates that, like, you know, have building over cars over the winter and all too, and you're like, yes, we've done it, boys, we're here. Like, that's class. Like, I do love that. But I do think as we've got older, there has almost been, most of my friends I've found that I run about with, and your friends too, because we're the same friend group, Conor, everybody's kind of tailored towards shows. And this podcast isn't a dig at those people. But I guess I just don't find shows as fun as I found going out those nights on a Friday night at 12 o'clock and going into the Gorchin Glens and wrecking about, or, you know, going out late at night, coming down the roads, trying to mangy, you know, coming around things, going to Mexico, you know, shit like that. You know, like the stuff we were doing in 2020 and 2021. And I kind of want to start getting back into that side of things, and cue Ryan Kelly entering. So Ryan is a friend of mine, and he's one of the top 16ers. We talked about him in the Donegal Rally podcast. Ryan's also a big listener of the pod, and Ryan reached out to me about a week ago and said, here lad, just letting you know, I want to do this, sort of want to set something up with the car scene. I want to sort of take it back a bit, you know, kind of all the sort of the older boys, you know, more experienced lads kind of want to maybe do something about looking about going on rear wheel drive runs, and, like, you know, just sort of invite only a few friends. And I was like, Ryan, that's probably the best thing I've ever heard to date. I was thinking about this as well, that how I don't really want to do the shows as much and all anymore, and how I miss, like, I done the Sierra run last year, and it was fucking class crack. And like the wrecking that went on with it, and like just the laughs that were had, and nobody was out looking at people's cars and walking around and looking for, oh, there's a wee score there. Like, my car's not the cleanest, and I guess you're not maybe vulnerable that way. You're more vulnerable if you decide to drive like a maggot and you can't. But it's quite interesting, because the whole idea of this, sort of what Ryan was suggesting, is it's all older lads. It's all like Ryan's maybe 4 years younger than me, like, and he's one of the younger boys in the group, which is nice, because there's a lot of this. Oh, like, you're now 23, like you'll stop worrying about cars now, won't you? Like, how many times has someone ever said to you in your life, I thought you'd have grown out of the cars by now?
Like a few, yeah. I
get it a lot as well, and the reality is, cars is all I know. I didn't play sport through school. Like, I didn't. It's like, that's like turning around to someone after they turn 23 and going, right, so you're no longer going to play rugby then, or you're no longer going to play GAA or anything like that. That doesn't happen. But people assume that if you're still into cars when you're like in your like late 20s, early 30s, that you're sitting in a car park in Cookstown to 1 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday night.
When you could be doing that, but you're just in Asda getting your groceries.
The reality is, when you're our age and you're in the cars, you're probably in a shed lying underneath it.
Aye, yeah. Yeah.
And that was kind of this whole thing, and a few of the boys in that group chat, and myself and yourself included, I don't want to go into the whole mental health brigade, although that's what Ryan was kind of nearly angling at. Is like, we were all saying, he's like, look, and we'll not get into it with my case, and we'll not get into it with everybody's, but he was kind of like, there is something to be said for all the boys going out and having a bit of crack together, and that sense of everybody geeing up, going out together, having a bit of fun, laughing, dicking about. That's probably the equivalent of a group of boys going out and playing a match together, albeit a fuck ton more expensive. Well, maybe not by the time you price in football boots and haircuts and all that, but that last one was a bit of a dick statement. But to be fair, football boots and all, like, pricey enough too, like, but...
Well, to be fair now, the last time I played sport, lad, I wasn't worried about my haircut.
No, I was worried about my lungs getting coughed up through my mouth. But I suppose this whole thing of... I suppose there's this stigma of, if you're a young lad and you're in, or not even, if you're an older lad and you're into the cars, people, I think, kind of look at you nearly as if you're a bit immature and a bit like, oh, I thought he'd have wised up by now. And I think that's a stigma that shouldn't really exist, unless, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. If you're like 33 and you're hanging about in a car park with a load of 18-year-olds, you probably should sort your life out. But if you're still into the cars and you have a family, like, you're not going to get a chance to work at your car every night like you could when you were 23. But you still have it there.
Well, I suppose it's like anything. If your only method of being into cars is being older and that's what you're into, then that's totally, you have to respect everything from everybody. But I suppose what you're trying to highlight more is when you've been there and done what you said you've done. So, like, as you say, whenever we were younger, most weekdays, suppose like the young ones do now, whenever you're maybe not into football, Gaelic football, hurling, rugby, any sport at all, and you maybe don't have much of an outlay in other things, or you're not so much into gaming and that, and you are into your cars and that, whether you drive a Ford Fiesta, a Polo, or anything, whether there's something done to it or not, suppose, like, we all started from somewhere and we always went to Marfelt for it was handiest to us. And then as things progressed, it's like anything, you put yourself in situations and then you meet more people, and then some of those folks you might, if you hadn't maybe fell in with the ones you fell in with, you could have ended up with different cars. You never know.
Yeah.
But say, like yourself, you went from one thing to another with a 207. It turned into your show car, and then you still drove it every day. So, people can say it was a waste of money, but it's like anything, hydraulics back then was, say, $2,500 roughly.
26.30.
26.30.
So I handed John Payton.
But then again, at the same time, if you had went out every weekend for 3 or 4 months, that money was gone and pissed against the wall. Whereas, yes, obviously you have fuel money and other bits and bobs too, but
there wasn't much fuel in a 1.4207.
But
back then,
yes,
that thing ran on the sniff.
But you went
diesel.
from
Diesel was cheap back then.
Meeting up in your late teens in the car parks and having a crack with the people you fell in with, to then going to the car shows, and then naturally everybody went to the car shows, and then it became a case of in the winter time you footered about, you did this, that and the other. Then it came to the shows, and then because it was your only vehicle, you still drove it during the week and that, so you always had the enjoyment out of it. And then, as you say, in your route, and I suppose you could say a lot of people's routes, as they get older, things change. You have, if your show car, and you've had it many years, you're doing more and more things to it, and it's not viable to run it every day. I suppose like fuel costs rising and all that. Maybe not as reliable. Gets you there and back from the show, but long story short, you do the show thing for a good wee while, and you don't quite get to enjoy it. And then obviously nobody ever foreseen the pandemic happening. We all had to become hermits for 2 years, and now, as you say, whenever the opportunity has arose to essentially basically go and enjoy something without, because I suppose, as we've said many times before, social media, best thing and worst thing to happen in certain circumstances. And then it's like anything, if you want something quite close-knit and private, you have to keep it close-knit and private. But I don't know where I'm going from that there. But yes, so essentially, now you've got a chat. Now, as you say, your car's at a stage where whenever the last wee bits and bobs are done, you'll be basically fit to drive it and do whatever you want to it, and you want to be able to enjoy it. And this will give you an outlay to enjoy it.
I just want to get out of that rut of it was a case of I remember Jack McGarry would write into the group chat going anybody want to go for a drive up the north coast, because Jack, to be fair, with Skyline, he does drive it, and he drives it hard. Show winning car, deadly clean. He drives the fucking nuts off it. And I was always sitting thinking, can't drive it hard anyway at the minute because of the needing mapped and all. But then there's always kind of that thing of, a lot of me was, there was always this fear because I had the Speed Hunters feature looming over me, and I had the fast forward feature. I'd done it in 2022, and then I had the Speed Hunters feature, which was late 2023. And I suppose there was a lot of this here, I nearly don't want to go out in a spirited drive in case I end up wrecking the car. And I'm waiting on my Speed Hunters feature, and I'm waiting on all this here. So I've I put myself in the position where I nearly sort of made myself a bit unhappy with everything. Because I was, you can turn around and go, Michael, what was stopping you? Apart from a map in the car, obviously, but even before the what do you call it? Before I had to put the new turbo in, Michael, what was stopping you going and messing about and doing all that and acting and doing all this? And it was that impending Speed Hunters feature of being I don't want to do all this and not get, I suppose, the recognition that I felt I deserved for the car.
Not that you didn't build your car for recognition.
No, I didn't build it for recognition, but whenever you get told,
you just had a goal and you were meeting that goal.
Speed Hunters was always one of my life goals. Speed Hunters was always, because Speed Hunters were even in the Need for Speed games and stuff back in the day.
Oh no, I know that there, but at the same time, it doesn't matter what you build, but you just had that goal in your head.
100%. I was I'm not fucking up the chance to have a thing.
Because whenever you say recognition, it's that you sound up your fucking arse.
I knew it would maybe come across like that.
Well, it's not recognition. You had a goal and you met your goal.
Yeah. Well, the recognition from the speed hunters, I suppose. Recognition from, well, fair enough. But yeah, like, now it's a case of, like, I want to be able to go out and actually enjoy the car and drive it the way it was supposed to be driven. And that's hence going back on coilovers, going back to that. So going back to the coilovers, going back till better tyres now, less stretch. Oh, well, ironically, I'm actually going for a bit more stretch in the front, but compared to what I did have in the OG, the Ragunas, like, all lined up for just, you can go somewhere now and you can enjoy it.
Well, it's like this. There has been things in the past that's tried to emulate that, what you're saying. Like, Stephen Lipsett done Define Raids Ireland, and it was essentially just everybody meet up and go a scoot to somewhere, and then we had Cruise for Cancer, which was charity based.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. Nothing seemingly in this country, regardless, well, as you say, mostly car related, it can't get too big whenever it's regards to modified cars. There is a bad stigma there.
The whole idea, I suppose, of what Ryan was wanting to do was, I suppose we have our group, but it would be to encourage other people to have your own wee small groups and go out and do that. Now, like, Ryan wants it to be a run for all the lads. Like, kind of like, as I say, it's a lot of like the Nordy veterans, like, boys with the twin cams and Sierras, and like, there's a couple of Lexus boys, but a lot of the Lexus boys wouldn't really be a veteran, if you know what I mean. Like, they're not about the same length of time. So as the whole idea was kind of like a more experienced, older group of ones, more, I don't know if you can call it mature, because everybody kind of still is going to get on and have their fun, but it's controlled to an extent by having a smaller group of people, just a group of your mates all going out enjoying yourselves. Like, the problem is, if you ended up, like, what Ryan's suggesting is actually a class idea, and if he was to put that to the wide public, he'd get 200 boys showing up looking to do it. And then what happens is you get someone who can't drive, or they start telling their friends, and suddenly, my biggest peeve, and I spoke about this on one of the other podcasts, I think it was episode 22 with Donegal and Jamie. Like, one of my biggest hates is when you try to arrange something and it gets leaked, and the next thing, the place where you go to land out to even do a better wrecking is that full of people, like, landing down waiting to see an action, that you can't actually get anything done. I've seen that in a few instances, and that's one of my big fears about what could happen, is if you let events get too big and let events get too, like, broadcast them too much, and then you'll end up getting someone trying to show off, thinking they are the fucking bee's knees or whatever, and suddenly accidents happen. Whereas if you keep, like, your group to a small number, 12, 13, 15 people max, you'll have the best fucking crack, you'll have control of who's there, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said for that. And that's basically the angle Ryan's trying to come from, and kind of prompted me to throw up this speaking, and basically bring the pod round to this and talking about, basically, go out and enjoy your, have the fun. Maybe I'm sitting here going, like, is it me who needs to hear this, or is it everybody else?
Well, it's like this here, regardless of what you have, if you're big into cars, whether you have a D-Turbo, a twin cam, a Lamborghini, a Chaser, or anything, you never know what tomorrow brings. I say that as quite the dick that's contradicting himself, considering my car is lying in a shed this 4 or 5 months.
Aye, but the salt is what eats our cars.
True, but at the same time, like, I may as well go and enjoy it, because you never know what tomorrow brings. You know, let tomorrow worry about itself. But obviously be safe and cross into Mexico
responsibly.
Yes, responsibly is right.
Go to Mexico responsibly. It's funny, I'd say there's most of the people listening to this podcast are probably going, Michael, we know this. We know this. Like, but I suppose it's more for a wake up call. People in my position, who for years have kind of been chasing after the show bills and kind of nearly getting to the stage where they've spent that much money that they're scared to drive their car. Because I know so many people in that position where they threw that much money at their car, they don't drive it anymore.
Yeah.
And I suppose what I'm trying to say is, maybe myself included, have just maybe got a bit misled on what you actually wanted to have. Like, why did you buy that rear wheel drive car? Like, why did you actually go and buy that rear wheel drive car? Is it so you could spend a fuck ton of money on it and make it so powerful that literally the second you even touch the accelerator, it lights up the tires in fifth and you can't control the fucking thing? Was that your plan? Was your plan that you were planning on going to shows, or was your plan that you bought your rear wheel drive car planning on having a laugh and going through a few donuts around a cone?
Well, here's the thing has come into my head, and it's not often you get two people that are kind of the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yes.
Because
depending on which spectrum.
Well, like, you've right. So to begin with, reverse back to 2017.
Mm-hmm.
You were chasing a dream.
Oh, 100%.
And you're that thick that you decided you need to do it yourself. And then, let's just say, put it this way, in a long story short, you spent loads and loads of money. You probably came around every obstacle you could have came around with no experience.
Only to make that big of a balls of it that I had to give it to Ali McClellan to finish it anyway.
Well, like, now it's not you chatting about I will pay someone to do.
Within reason.
Well, like,
we were talking about the OM 606 diesel engine that I have off camera, and originally I told you I was going to build that myself.
And fuck that.
Yeah,
you
not
know,
a chance.
Because obviously as you get older, life changes.
Yeah.
All our commitments.
There may be people listening. There are people, and I've had this said to me before, going, why would you just not do it yourself? Dude, it's not that fucking hard. Just do it yourself. And I'm like, maybe not hard for you. Harder for me when I don't know how to build engines.
Well, it's like through the podcast, Andrew, right? You have a good understanding of cows to a degree, but at the same time, me and him did a degree in cows.
And then you both own milking
with
partners.
In regards to with yourself and like your personal work, you know 100-fold what I would even want to know or have a clue about.
Watching and screening and all that. Yeah, 100%.
Then the other what I meant by two sides of the spectrum is, you know, like, yes, rewind, you went and you set yourself a goal, and as I said, you're a bit thick to it, you decided you had to do it yourself. I wasn't earning what could do what I wanted to do, and then whenever I eventually did start to earn, I was older, like, and I bit the bullet and saved up and got the car. And then the first thing I did, if you were me, technically, you could have bought the Civic and put it in the shed and went, right, I'm buying Honda, going to buy the exhaust, buy the manifold, going to buy the intake.
Aye.
You know, you'd have been like, right, need to do all this here, and I need to do it myself.
I can't have this car out until...
you know, I can't do this, whatever, in case fucking Joe Blogs is like wondering, oh, you're hardly driving about in a standard Type R, going from this, that, or the other. Really, I didn't give a fuck. I was just like...
Oh, I was 100% like that.
And I think, as you, like, so... I was like, I want to drive the car, so I drove through the first winter. Everybody said I was an idiot for it.
You were?
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it was like the same reason why I went to England for summer to do the harvest. I was always, whenever I was younger, was mad to get going and driving and working to like the local contractors and that.
Yeah.
But it's just with the situation at home and being needed at home all the time, you never know what was ever going to occur or happen, so you always need to be about. And at the end of the day, an extra two hands comes in handy, like with the farm. But like I drove away, and don't get me wrong, came to shows, and I still went to them. Now, suppose if you looked at, I went to, you were away at that time for work purposes, but I went to Stephen Lips's show that was in Carrickmore, Springfest, the first year of it.
Yes.
And like I went there with Cameron Taggart,
Limitless ones,
and the rest of the Limitless ones, and like every other car there was more or less bagged, wheels, all that crack. Now, if we're going realistic, like, and I do be quite realistic, yeah, not gonna lie, I felt like a bit of a dick because I'm going in there with just a lower type R with an exhaust on it, and to be honest with you, it's not that it bothered me, or it's not that I thought much of it. I just went, if the average punter is going to walk around here and be like, oh, bit random, he's here, but sure, fuck it. And, as like yourself, friendly with all them ones, and that was about the height of it. Didn't really make much more of it. But anything I ever done to my car, unless for an unforeseen circumstance, it never went away any length of time.
Yeah.
It was always driving home.
Yeah.
Again, to enjoy it.
Yeah. Complete difference of way I done things.
Which is why whenever you had the Altezza, which you do go on about a bit and all that, but it was a car you jumped into, there was no pressure with it, it just worked.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, it wasn't without you having to do a few footery bits to make it work better,
She did
like
need
your
the
diff and all that
She need
carry
the
on.
diff done.
But like, it's like, I suppose like the age old thing, that was the only car you've ever had where you had a slight emotional attachment, but you didn't realise, like, it wasn't on the level of the Sierra or that. It was never going to be taken to a show.
Yeah.
It was literally just like, if anybody decided to go for a day's drift into Eglinton and that, you were like, fuck it, yeah, why not?
But if I had any fucking brain, like, I'd have just kept the Altezza. The Altezza would be just sitting over there now over the winter. Like, if I had any brain, I just would have held on to it. It was... I was always like, because I always say I'm such a Ford man, and I'm like, oh, I'm a Ford man. I always felt like, yeah, I mean, the Altezza, I like it, but it's just not really me. And then when I sold it, I was like, whereas sometimes I think, like, if I sold the Sierra, I wouldn't even care. Whereas, like, when I sold the Altezza, I was like, fucking hell, like, what have I done here? And there's boys literally sell cars every week, and they're going like, Michael, what are you talking about? It's only a fucking car. And then, like, as I said, the Altezza wasn't that special, but I think it's just because I cling to, I suppose, the Altezza did a lot of stuff that the Sierra technically could do, but doesn't, for not being mapped or whatever. And just the fun, like when the roads were a bit emptier and stuff like that, and like me and you coming home from Oma at nights and stuff like that there, and going out to the Gorchin Glens, going to all these random places, and throwing hoops, like, as I said, doing the crossroads, coming along roads and just laying up and doing crossroads and all that there, like. And I don't really do that now, and I didn't do it because it was either like, oh, either the car's going to break, or like, I was just, oh no, like, if something happens here, like, and so if I break something, like, I'll not get this feature or whatever, like. And I think maybe if the Sierra now, if I can drive the Sierra the way I want to drive it, I think maybe the Altezza might become a distant memory, because I'll go, this is the car that's going to do it. But I think that's why I cling to the Altezza so much, is because it gave me a side of things that I haven't experienced since. If that makes sense?
I think it's yeah, well, yeah, you have that, but at the same time, like, when you took the Sierra out and you tried to do something, it broke.
Yeah.
It didn't break with 20 quid or 50 quid. It was 500 quid.
Yeah.
And you had invested that much emotionally into it because you had done it all yourself.
Originally,
because realistically, if you had have got that car in 2017 and gave it to Ali to do everything from bare bones, you would not have the attachment you have to that car.
No, probably not.
Like, it would still just be a car.
But it probably would have worked a lot better.
In hindsight,
bearing in mind the problem is what happened with my car is Ali built that car with the parts I give him. Because I remember Ali getting on to me once. He goes, you talk a lot about the car and talk about a brake, and he goes, in a roundabout way that kind of makes me look bad. And I was like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's not, because I also always go like, Ali's the man who literally pulls me out of handlings left, right and centre. But I can see where he's coming from, because he's sitting going, people might be listening to that too and going, Jesus Christ, what sort of hatchet man's Ali McClellan? Couldn't do any, he didn't do much to Michael Scone's car. But the reality is, Ali built my car with all these parts I give him. So like the clutch, even like the plate for the clutch and like the injectors and all that stuff and the manifold and everything that gave hassle. The diff, all drive shafts, all come from me. We're all supplied to Ali. Anything Ali bought for the car has been fine.
As bad as this sounds, is this whole topic essentially Michael coming to the realisation that you've spent all the money in the car and you've done the show thing, and now you've realised there's more to that car than just shows?
I wouldn't say it's coming to the realisation. I would say it's more of, I'd say it's more a case of like, not realisation. It's not so much an epiphany as in maybe just a help that I can guide other people to maybe think the same, as get them away from the track that I was on, where they look at cars and they don't want to have fun or drive them anymore because they're too scared to do anything in them. I guess it's me coming back and saying, right, look, do you really need 600 horsepower? Do you really need 400 horsepower? What's wrong with 250? Do you really need to have this? What's wrong with that? At the end of the day, I'll do all this talking about here now, and even when my car's mapped, I'll still be shit feared to drive it because the thing's a fucking animal. But I'm just going to have to learn. At the minute, I haven't had an opportunity to learn because, well, between not being mapped and things kept breaking, anytime you did try and do something, it broke. So, I guess, is this me counselling myself? Probably to an extent, but there's people out there that do chase the same things as what I chased.
How many miles are you roughly put in the Sierra in the last 5 years?
That's quite, in 2017.
Not realistically.
No, in 2017.
From the engine swap.
Just listen.
Okay.
In 2017, with the last year, I would say it ran well.
Right.
And I done like Donegal Rally and all. I done 1,100 miles that year.
Okay.
In 2022, I done 1,700. And last year, even with the blown turbo and all in the middle of it all, I done 2,500. Because any drive I had it on, it got a long drive. Sure, I went to Dublin that time and all on it to go to drift games.
Yeah.
I jumped in it and took it to Dublin, and it ran faultlessly. And I was just like, this is class. And that was far better. And as I say, the Sierra run, done all that, no issues. Deadly hot day.
Well then, say you've done, 5-ish thousand miles since 2017 in that car? No, all I'm bringing it back to is I've nearly done 30k since I got mine at the end of 2020. So that's 3 years, about 10k a year roughly?
Yeah.
And that's with putting it away for the winter time, and now this is the 3rd year it's away for winter.
I think I put something like 12,000 miles in the Altezza in the
and that's part of the reason why you just miss it, I would say. It's just the fact that it's all well and good, buying the show, but a car is a car, still at the same time. It's nice to just perfect example. Paul Emerson I run about way. Not this year, not last year, I think it was 2022. He has a 328 E36.
Yeah.
And anyway, it had niggles here, there, and with a few niggles, thinking then he essentially put money into it and he fixed it. And then he said he just took an Ocean, I think, roughly, if this is the story, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. And he drove it to his work.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it was just fucking cool driving that sort of car to work. And do you know something? Same thing as well with Civic. Can't really drive it for the line of work I'd be in, but the odd time, I have drove it to work. And it's funny. It's just cool as fuck just to drive your nice car to work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Aye, you're a fucking nuisance. You're a noisy bastard and all that. Carry on, but it's just fun. You know. And then don't get me wrong. After a couple of days of it, you do appreciate when you get into your later 20s, silence.
Yeah.
And a decent radio as well. I suppose to summarise the whole thing, just do whatever in regards to a car puts a smile on your face. And the one thing that you have definitely realised is just driving it is enough.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
And you could be right. You could end up going and doing things this year whenever she's fully set up, getting used to it, and doing things you never ever dreamed you'd do.
Which would be good.
But please enjoy sensibly.
Yeah. Yeah. Go. Yeah. We have to say that. Here, look, me and Conor aren't angels either, but we have to.
And we've experienced things as well, and just be sensible.
Know your limits.
Yes.
Know your limits. Versus challenge.
Fuck. Have you won? You got a wee shover there, boy.
I actually do have one.
Go for it.
So, because there's no real thing we can tie the versus challenge into this week, well, I mean, I'm sure I could somewhere or another, but just a random run-of-the-mill question here for you.
Okay.
Would you rather have a Nissan Skyline ER34,
right,
or even an ER32 5-door,
yeah,
or a Laurel, assuming they both came with the RB, say 25 turbo? What would you rather have?
So essentially, a Laurel is the like late 90s one, not
Even one of the newer ones. If you want a C35 to match, say an R34 or a C33 like Crest to match an R32, like Dave Egan's.
To be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of R34 four doors.
Agreed.
Agreed. Everybody to their own. I've seen a few 5-door R32s, and they look right, in my opinion.
I think, to do an R34 4-door right, you have to make them look very, very big and low. Cameron Taggart's is probably one of the best examples I've ever seen of a 4-door, whereas I think it's a lot easier to make a 32 look better.
Well,
with a lot less, say, work.
Other than Cameron's, because Cameron's is a very nice car. You might have seen a video on YouTube years ago, and it was a wide arched 34 4-door, and the proportions, the wheels, ever just looked well.
Yeah,
it nearly set sort of. Do you mind the blue PS13 Chrissy Walsh used to have?
Yes.
Do you know the way the wheels, the fitment, everything just looked in the right portions and all that carry on for it. You know, everyone just worked together. You know, you wouldn't have done anything else to that car, or like Dave Egan's red PS.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing you could do that would make it any better looking.
But
unless for different wheels that.
Back to the question.
4-door 32
you
over
would take
a Laurel.
Over a Laurel.
Nothing wrong with Laurels either.
I would take the Laurel personally over a 4-door 32.
So I have a versus challenge for you, Michael.
Yeah. Take two, but anyway.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So the versus challenge for you this podcast is, so you chatted about the Sierra. We're going back to 2017.
Yes.
You decided to go what I would normally have done and get somebody else to do the work for you that knows the crack and all that. You give the car, it's sitting basically, works, does everything you want it to do. Excuse me. Do you do the show calendar, or do you just drive it?
Could you have driven the car to shows?
Just to the show and back.
But you were allowed to drive the car.
Just to a show.
I feel like back then, I would probably have taken the show route because that is originally what I wanted.
Yes.
I would have been like, yeah, no, I want someone to go to the shows with. If you were to ask me that same question now, I guess knowing what I know, well, actually, I don't even know because, fuck, like I said that what I wanted to have was, at the time, I wanted to have the perfect apple green car. Something that could sit and look really good in the car park, but ultimately you could also throw hoops.
Yes, but
and if I do have this show car, I'm not allowed to do any of that, I presume.
No.
Oh no, fuck, drive it then.
Drive it?
I like 100%. I would have, like, the idea was I wanted a show car. But me and Calvin Kirby both said this. We wanted, both our cars were literally, you could park it up at Apple Green, decked, looking class, but then you could lift it up and go and start throwing hoops. And that was literally the idea behind both of our cars at the time. That was what we wanted to do. And he had his car out. He done it the right way. He like bought the engine and all in the background and drove his car on, whereas I didn't, stupidly. But that was, yeah, I would have just drove it, yeah. Because driving the shows is good crack for the first show. Back when we used to do the convoys back in the day, but nobody convoys the shows anymore.
Yeah.
So, because everybody has so many commitments, no, like even Dubshed, I'd love to do a convoy to Dubshed this year, but by the time, like, you tell Krath 4 o'clock, you'll see him at 6. You know, like, tell Jack 4 o'clock, you see him at 2, wondering where you're at. Like, you know.
Well, that's true, yes. And on the other side of it, I suppose you could say as well is, your friend group sort of changes over time. So where it once did suit to meet
in Marfelt,
it now is
literally the entire north.
Pointless.
Yeah, 100%. The only place you'd literally meet would be Sprucefield. And sure, by that stage you'd be as well meeting at the gates outside the Icon Centre. Like,
I'm not saying many of them don't, but there's not. Well, bar ones we know.
Yeah.
There's not. I don't think there's. Like, is there many people that actually do? You know, you look at Dubshed there, and all the younger ones that you would see in the car parks and that drive their cars to Dubshed. I'll have it outside. But there's many ones that's inside Dubshed that drive their cars everywhere and do whatever they want with it.
Krath?
Aye, but
Krath would. No, not really. I mean, the E36 that was beside me, like, the wheels he had on it were so aggressive that he had to trailer the car.
yeah,
You know, then the chaser beside him, like, I think, lovely looking car, but I'm pretty sure it was like a 2.5 NA automatic.
possibly. Aye.
So, you know, like, so there was that. Like, I don't even think at the time, like, Vicky's car had the MOT or anything on it. So she, you know, she couldn't have driven it, you know. And, like, I mean, it won top 40, top 20, top 40. Like, that was one of the best cars there. Like, that S2000's class. No, you like, a lot of the cars, like, weren't, like, there's, like, obviously Cameron drove in, Calvin drove in, like, Robert Bell drove in, Krath drove in.
You drove in.
Yeah, you know, there's a few of us all drove in, but yeah, like, a lot of them come in trailers. Which I think's, for me, it's not for me. I always think part of the fun of going to a show is driving your car to a show. Although Paddy Lynch said he was of that impression too until he took his car to Dubshed in a canopied car transporter. And I was like, what the fuck did you do that for? And he goes, sir, I'm telling you, I didn't have to clean my car. Like, that Friday at all. He goes, I gave it a quick run around on the Saturday. He goes, best thing ever. And I was like, I hate that I see your logic, but still, part of the fun is driving there. Like,
it is, aye.
Yeah. So, big old skids and one wheel bills. Do you have much?
Probably mostly TikTok related, to be honest with you.
I get a few minor TikTok related too.
If I just turn that volume down.
I'll tell you what I will do first. Is something that's come up with me recently. I'm just going to try and find the picture. So I done a tractor run there. I done a tractor run there recently, and there was this 880 Fiat behind me, David Farquhar's. The thing's absolutely class. So David actually said to me, he was like, I must send you a few things over. Like, seriously, like, aggressive looking tractor. So started off as a 4-cylinder. It's now a 5-cylinder 880, turbocharged. They put a man turbo 4.2 into her. She's doing 110 horse.
Oh,
bearing in mind most of them did about 85. Massive wide tires on her. The thing is an absolute animal. It's absolutely class looking. So yeah, deadly.
Something I seen on TikTok just the other day. His name in TikTok is Tyrone Tynan1. Aye, hope I didn't butcher that, but video of an 8340 with a 2,500 Abbey tandem axle tanker.
Cool.
Going through tricky ground.
Yes.
And it just makes me want to buy an 8340 even more.
Deadly.
But yeah. And then the other big old skid I had is another TikTok.
Yes.
And it's put up by a boy, Farmer Jack. And it is every family farm while moving sheep, or you could have it as moving cattle. And if you want to insert it, that's up to you.
Don't you fucking dare talk to me like that, you cunt! Don't you fucking...
That is literally everybody shifting cows.
That's so true. It's funny because it's true. You've only the two of them.
And that's why I curse so much.
Yeah, it's true, but Jack McGarry sent me a really funny one. And it was like a video, and it said, even the lorry's surprised. And it's like, so basically, it's like someone's videoing a car accident from far away, and there's this car lying on its roof, and the next thing there's this big like Arctic lorry drives past, and it just says on the side of it, Jesus Christ.
That's terrible.
It's just because it literally just comes in saying Jesus Christ. It's just the fact that it says even the lorry's surprised. I know, so I'm howling at that. Another thing I saw recently was Robert Bill bought a pair of NASCAR Crocs. So like black Crocs they have like wee spoilers on them, and like, you know, like the wee circular bits at the front where you can stick things into.
Right.
Yeah, it's like stuff stuck into that, and they have like NASCAR. It has like NASCAR riding and all.
Do you like Crocs?
No,
Neither do I.
no. Like, I think they're wild looking, but they're fucking hilarious. I think it's one of them things where,
Do you ever see you can get headlights for them?
yeah, that's
Or
where
you can get snow pushers and all for
you
them.
plug them into them wee holes at the top of them. Well, that's where his stuff is getting plugged into. It's fucking hilarious.
Like, imagine, like, I seen a video, and it was, my Crocs and the snow pushing. Dragging your feet along with your wee snow plows.
Same ones as well. People trying to like mop the floors with Crocs and all
What
too.
the fuck, like?
Here's a good one.
Is it?
Right. What about the HMRC being wee teases there recently with the whole pickups?
Yeah, they could have. Yeah, then people could have argued, what about crew cab vans?
Well,
Because crew cab vans are the same.
yeah.
So, like, you know, we all know why that was going to happen. COVID cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And there's some of it needs to be brought back.
But the thing is, right, so they introduced this thing very quietly saying from the 1st of April 2024...
July.
From the 1st of July 2024 that all double cab pickups would now be classed as a car.
Aye.
And basically I was like, well, there goes my entire podcast from 2 episodes ago, completely into turmoil, where Michael talks about podcasts that he's thinking about, or podcast pickups he's thinking of buying.
Why are you thinking of buying any other podcasts?
I'm thinking of acquiring a couple of other podcasts. And
or am I going out the window? Or sorry, am I going into the abyss like my book from episode 3?
Just trade you in for a better model.
Alright then, that'll do. Fuck you.
Work.
My legs don't work. My legs don't work like they used to.
Insert Ed Sheeran quote here. But anyway, so they turned
I'm back.
So they basically, then the whole thing went into turmoil, and it was like, oh shit. And then very quickly, more or less as soon as they did it, they turned and went back to saying, actually no, we're going to remove this double cab pickups.
Wouldn't
will
it
be classed
worked over
as
here all the same though, would it have? Because, well, depending if Stormont passed it, because they have to pass it too.
Do they have to pass it?
Well,
I
I'm
assume
assuming
that.
so,
I think HMRC, but you'll do your VAT straight to the HMRC. It's not like you do it to NI HMRC. It's not like the DVLA versus the DVANI. You know.
Is it not? If I'm thinking right. I don't know what I'm going to say there. I forgot. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I bought it in.
So like,
it was I think it was the agricultural sector spoke out about it.
Aye, but like the thing is, and I thought about this because to a normal person, right? They'll go, yeah, of course, pickups should be classed as a car. Like everybody's driving them as a car. But that's actually not quite the point. The whole idea of a pickup, like a crew cab van, is that you can they technically are a van because yes, they can take a payload of over a ton, but the reality is the whole idea of the boot being in them is that you can turf all your dirty stuff on and still be clean, same as a van. Whereas people are saying, oh, but you know, those boys driving pickups, they'd have no need for pickups, they could just drive cars instead. It's like, well, no, not really. Like, especially if you work in the quarrying industry or anything like that, like my background, like, and you're throwing, say, samples or whatever, like, yes, there are boys do that in the back of their Audis, and they get wrecked. Whereas if you have a pickup, like, you can drive through a quarry, no bother, you can get all your stuff, you know, you can throw all the dirty stuff in the back, you keep yourself clean when you're sitting in the car, and then when you left all the dirty stuff out of the back, you run the power wash around it and everything's dead on.
Well, I suppose like the age-old thing of every mum in the country loves a Jeep.
Yeah.
Why not just buy a car?
They'll all argue that's for safety.
Well,
I agree.
I could understand the safety if it's a Volvo XC90 because they're the only car that's never had a fatality.
Seriously?
Yeah. But if it's not a Volvo XC90, then it's just because you like to be above others.
Well, yeah.
With your sunglasses on.
And you still can't fucking drive. Or park. Swear to God, you go into like Portland in like the middle of the day and there's spaces taken up everywhere. Like people double parking over shit. It's like, if you're going to have a big vehicle, learn to drive it.
It'd be interesting to know if
and that
social
goes
media,
to the men too.
If social media never happened, would they all still be driving big
I don't
vehicles?
think so.
You know?
I don't think so. That's for the Instagram post of the new X5.
Yay.
Here's another one. Listeners. Andrew Muldoon. No, hang on. Here's another one. Listeners. Andrew Muldrew and David Hearn. They both work together, right? Andrew Muldrew was the first person ever to deaf while listening on the pod.
Ah, yes.
David Hearn has now said, he goes, I know it wasn't the first. He goes, am I the second person to deaf while listening to the pod? So I was like, see, what you need to go now is go and get Andrew and do it better than him. And he goes, I couldn't have that. The student might be better than the master. And I goes, well, it's just thinking to myself, surely if he was in,
they could be doing it together.
They could be.
And holding hands out of the window.
They could be the first person to tandem on the pod.
Yeah, you could do that.
Right, there we go. Lads, get to it. That was more just a shout out for them to get to it. I already actually have written the bringing the scene back here, but we end up doing a main topic on it. No Man Left Behind. It's like the first car sharing group I've seen that reaches the level of like...
They had 30,000 members join in 1 week.
I haven't seen numbers like that, like people getting like likes in their cars and stuff like that since the days of Splitter Scuffers.
Well, I was proud that I got 20. You got 100 times what I got.
Yes, yeah, something like that probably.
Feed the ego.
It was, but like, you know, just a lot of stuff. See, a lot of the stuff that I seen doing really well. Fords. There was like 3 or 4 Sierras posted, and they were all class. I'm not lumping mine into that list, by the way. But there's one of them was like a hatchback, not a hatchback, an estate, and your man like it was running like something like 650 horsepower, but it was done up like a sleeper.
Oh, yes.
It was absolutely class. Stuff like that. And then there was another one that came in that was like 900 horsepower. And that's just like...
That's something you couldn't do, is do up a sleeper.
I would actually love to have a sleeper. But the problem is then you can't take pictures of it. You can, but... I'd love to have a sleeper. But... Yeah.
You would never have a sleeper. It's like...
I'd love to have the power of a sleeper. No, I want people to know if I'm in something quick. I'd want people to know I'm in something quick. Like, yeah, you're right.
All people know whenever they see your car is it's still working at the moment.
But for how long? Gotta keep them guessing, Conor. And finally,
I can't afford tyres. You're just like, I don't want it to break again.
Finally, I was in Germany there last week. And you ever been to Germany?
No.
Right. Well, east of Germany is a place called Bavaria.
Right.
Or Bavaria, however you say it.
Right.
It's where Munich is.
Right.
Right. And it's quite a nice part of the country. The architecture is the same, whether it's a house or whether it's a farm building. So you drive past the farm. Which one was the house and which one was the shed? Because I sure as fuck couldn't work out. Because the barn's all of windows, done up the same way as the house.
So was it like Grassman had that video of in the... Oh, fuck, where was it at? Like Swiss Alps or something? No, couldn't have been. Anyway, it was like... it was a wee dairy farm, and the milking parlour could milk 3 at the one time, and they only had like 10 cows.
No, these farms are big.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, the barn where the cows were would have passed for a lodge in other places,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's exactly like that. You know, you're driving past and I was like, is that a barn or a house? And they were like, that's probably a barn. It looks too big to be a house. I was like, you can see that the windows are a lot higher up and there's a more gap between like the windows. I was like, they still have windows. And the thing is, they're like the wooden design windows. And I was like, that literally looks like a house. Like, you're driving past sheds and it's like, that's a house. Like, that's class.
To be fair, just on a comment with that, so Gemma was recently in Switzerland.
Yes.
And they went and done some tour, and
she was in Zurich, was she?
Aye, somewhere like that anyway, yes. But she came home and she was like, you know, it's amazing, over there their cows have rights. And I was like, right, where's this going? And then she was saying about, you know, the cows are this, the cows are that, and the other. And I was like, you do realise that's all the same as over here? She was like, what do you mean, how? You know, and I was like, well, look, welfare standards is rights. You know, a cow is obviously the same rights. And I was like, to be fair, with the dairy farming side of things, we have to adhere to red tractor.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably similar standards as they'll have their equivalent. But I suppose what I was getting at with that was, it's funny how whenever she went on a tour, it really stuck with her about the cows have the same rights as the humans. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And she went on about that, and it gave a positive impact. It just goes to show, maybe someday, if they swing the words the right way, people see the same things here too.
I think Clarkson's Farm always did a very positive thing for that.
Clarkson's Farm, like funny, were the protests are in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, one of the farmers was saying, like, Clarkson's Farm is a great show because it actually shows what it's really like. Like, realistically, that show is making a bomb because it's it's popular. But at the same time, it's showing that that farm is bound to be making, take the show away from it. Fuck all squared.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if you're going to run a beef farm, you need hundreds to make a living out of it. Because everything is so expensive. Like,
Yeah, constantly.
and another thing, sorry, just as that I've seen, so Grassman had their video out today, and it was ordering a silage harvester.
Right. Oh, with Geth and Evans.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Dubshed Geth. He runs Dubshed.
Oh.
Yes. That Gethin.
Oh, well, there you go. Bombshell.
Yeah.
So, long story short, he was saying about his time being a nutritionist and silage sampling. And he's so correct. Like, we got some slurry
Ooh.
put out there recently in the best grain we had to
Yes.
relieve a bit of stress. And, like, we were chatting about silage harvesters and that, and how much they went up in money. And as Rory was saying to me, like, realistically now, when you buy a silage harvester, the dealer has you regardless, because, like, you can't just put, like, after 3 years, like, a vehicle or that, put it up on Facebook Marketplace or try and put it in Gumtree or Donegal. Nobody's just going to get the finance for a £200,000 harvester.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so you have to trade it in. So you have to take what the dealer wants and all that. But get away from that. It's the Harvest Lab thing with analysis. It's actually, when you think about it, right, so say you're a farmer, a dairy farmer, right, you know, you get so many silage samples taken, and it tells you what like how good your silage is, and then you can do your feeding all off that.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, Rory came to us, did our silage,
Yeah.
and then went, here, there's this field, there's that field, there's a printout for every field you have. So you know exactly a sort of good idea. So then, like, realistically, if a field's bad, you can sort it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. Like, as he was saying, it's such a huge outlay, but as what Gareth was saying, I don't, like, it doesn't make sense as to why more people just don't do this.
Yeah.
And it does make total sense.
100%.
But it was kind of scary at the same time that the harvester that they had spec'd was £626,000.
Holy fuck.
I mean, it was over 600 grand. Something like 600. Either 626 or 642,000.
Jesus Christ. Was that an A900, was it?
No, 97.
Not even the biggest one?
No. No, that was what I'm near sure it was that. So,
How many acres
now,
would that thing need to chop to justify paying for itself?
well, it's like it's like this. The contractor that done the silage in the farm that I worked in England in 2017, they had, if I can mind right, so they did the crop, so like your whole crop and your maize,
Yeah.
as well as the grass.
Yeah.
And they were saying, oh, like, we have 4,000 acres of first cut and 2 or 3, you know, say 1,000 acres of crops between maize and all these other things.
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense. But if you're somebody that is only chopping 2.5 to 3,000,
I don't think, is there anybody in this, like, is there anybody over here who could justify 626 on a harvester? Even
No.
Livingston's or Porter's or any of the bigger contractors.
No,
like
I'm
Brian
pretty
Horner or
sure
any of them.
whenever you're trading in and you're doing this and doing that and the other, like, if I can mind right, a new harvester now is just over 400 by the time it gets here. So maybe list price, that's what they are, but buy-in price is a different story. I'm assuming. I don't know the full ins and outs of it. It's like they say a list price for a Volkswagen Golf is now 30,000, but if you go into the dealer, you probably get it for 25,000 if you're buying straight, or vice versa or that. But no, my main point was just like, you know, if a farmer had all that data, it's amazing, like, what they could do it.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It's now got to be that they're using the Harvest Lab sensor, and you can now go at, you know, as what they were saying was, it would be smart for in years to come, farmers buying one of these, putting the silage down on it. So like, say every time they're feeding the cows,
Yeah.
putting the silage down onto it, getting a rough good guide, a reading of the composition of it, and then you're like, oh, you can make really accurate things, and then feed your cows better.
And you're right, Bill, over that.
Like it was astonishing, to be honest with you. Like, people are now putting Harvest Labs onto slurry equipment,
Fucking hell.
if I'm thinking right. They were talking about that, yeah.
That's mental. Will we call it off there?
I'll stop rambling on, as not per usual. But anyway,
Happens sometimes.
if you've made it this far,
Thank
don't
you.
know how far we're in, but thanks very much for the listen, guys. If you would like to follow us on all socials, it's at Limited Slip Differences on everything: TikTok, Facebook, Insta, the works. If you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to. I'm Conor.Magoo on all socials, from Facebook, no, not Facebook, from Instagram,
Instagram, TikTok,
the
basically.
the works.
And I am at Michael Scullen _ and everything, although to be honest, well, apart from I post on the Insta a bit, truth, but see, really, to be honest, I'm trying to push the page.
So
Definitely with the TikTok, like, so if you want to find out anything interesting, probably just better off following the page.
but if you're watching us on YouTube, don't be afraid to
Subscribe.
subscribe, and throw us down a comment.
Yeah, comments are good.
If anybody that's listening to this doesn't get a reply, we will reply to you at some stage. We just are so busy.
I actually seen there recently, there was a message come through into our requests, and we didn't reply for like 6 days because I didn't know it was there. And then I felt like such a dick when I seen it come through, and I was like, oh shit, like I felt so bad.
Like, you can like, I suppose you could say it would be different if we were at this full time.
Aye.
You know,
And had someone maybe employed to look
yeah.
at the stuff.
But thanks very much for listening, everyone. Have fun.
Right, best luck, folks. Good luck. I was trying to say good luck and good night, and ended up saying good knock. I think on that one we need to end. Best luck, folks.
Good morning, good day, and good night.